Hello and welcome to the Be Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast, where we are reshaping life, leadership, and business from the inside out. And I am welcoming to the show today, all the way from Austin, Texas, Tyler Lubben. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been we tried to do this for a few months now, so I'm glad we figured it out.
Yeah, I can't believe we were trying to do it right on Christmas. It was
I know.
wild. I think we
It was
both just
ambitious.
yeah, it was so ambitious. It was like two
Very
days
ambitious.
before, and I was like, I'm cooked. You were like, lol, I'm cooked too. Why are we even trying to do
Yeah.
this? And so here we are. So
Yeah.
it's good to see you, Tyler, and thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, no, of course. I know we wanted to kind of introduce myself, and I was changing up and rebranding a little bit, so I'll take that away from you a little
Well,
bit. So I
let me do a little intro because I don't want you to do
All
it all
right, all right,
yourself.
all
Let me
right,
just a
all
little bit, please, and then I'll hand it over to you because
right.
it's always nice to have somebody,
Deal,
you know,
deal.
like congratulate you so you've started this company only last year in 2025, so it's very, very new. It's a baby,
Mm,
right? And essentially you are focused in growth tech and it's an AI native company and growth tech marketing and you've also got another company around visual intelligence. And I want
yeah.
to also preface that, when we were just talking before pre-show, it's, early into the year and the first thing you said, and I asked how you were, was you were talking about meetings and like the hecticness of like how do I get myself out of more meetings. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to talk all about your company and you can share that. But before we go straight into it, the one big thing that comes up for me as I was talking to you was that, you know, energy where you pay attention to your energy and you design the
Hmm.
work around it, that's when you can be at your best. And you talked about this also when you responded to my question around what's one unique insight or lived experience when it comes to life, leadership, and business. So I want to put an energy spin around this as well because like I said,
Yeah.
you said pay attention to what your energy gives you. What Pay attention to what gives you energy, design work around it, and delegate or systematize the rest. And it sounds like your
Yeah. Yeah.
business
So
is part of that. So I'll hand it over to you now.
Yeah, so I guess before we even get in that, I'll just before I was doing this, I was doing a year and a half contract with a marketing agency, and I was building the growth technology, and then it got time to actually implement it. And actually try to implement it, I was tired all the time. Like I just wasn't my thing. And so I was just lazy. I was sleepy, and I was just like, why am I always tired? And it was because I wasn't doing something I love doing. And so I love the creative building, problem solving, but actually implementing, it was just sucking the energy out of me. And I didn't really know what was going on at that time. And so, like, I was talking to my doctor, like, hey, man, I think I need some more Adderall. Like, something's going on. And I noticed that it was just because I was doing something I didn't like anymore. And I learned just in myself was like, all right, Tyler, like you got to really pay attention on what gives you energy and what doesn't give you energy, and try to just move and kind of delegate so that you do things that do give you energy. Because I can work 15, 20 hours a day and not even be tired sometimes. But as soon as I did something I hated, it was like 3, 4 hours. Like, man, what time is it? And so, yeah, I really figured out, like, I had to figure out, like, all right, Tyler, you love building, you don't like implementing. Now you got to figure out how to delegate that
Mm.
part. And I found that part was kind of hard of trying to delegate that part. So then I kind of started building systems and agents to try to make that happen. And so I kind of went down that whole journey of how do I pick and choose what does give me energy and what I love and what I don't, and then be able to pass that on.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And so is that kind of part of then founding Relentless Labs as well? Like, the fact that you're in growth tech. Tell us a little bit about that and how
Yeah,
that
yeah.
insight around your energy and everything you were just talking about then, did that form part of then, establishing and founding the company that you have now?
Yeah, I did. So before I was doing consulting, and so I did this consulting contract, and then when AI started coming out, I was doing data analytics. AI came; it's kind of very adjacent, and so I started building analytics. Everyone knows like agencies right now in the last few years are kind of struggling. So he was like, hey, can you help me build some technology to get me some leads? So I was like, yeah, I got this. And so I started building kind of the technology and I really loved it. And then once again, it got to the part where it's like, all right, time to implement. I was like, nope, that's not me. And so at that point, I was like, all right, well, like I already have this technology built. I love doing that part. Let me create a company out of just building the growth technology
Mm.
and not implementing it and just licensing the technology to teams and helping them, enabling them. And so I figured out what I loved and just said, all right, now focus on that. You're not doing consulting no more. You're not doing the implementation. You're just building the technology for people. And I was able to separate the two. And so that's kind of how Relentless Labs came, was me identifying that and then being like, no, we're not doing an agency. We're not doing consulting. We're going to build the technology and then let them use it.
Cool. So tell us a bit about the technology. How does it all work? Like, what does it do? Like in terms of working with the marketing teams. If you're not an agency, like does it essentially? No, I'm going to let you explain it because I think I'll probably get it wrong.
Yeah, no. So the concept was Relentless Labs is like a laboratory of innovative tech. And so what I was finding was all the AI tools that came out will get people like 90% there. And then everybody was doing that same 90%, meaning like everyone was still on the same playing field. And to get to that 100%, you had to do custom things. And that of course is not scalable. Everybody can't build custom, AI agents. And so what I did was kind of build like these accelerators where I build it 80% and then the other 20% is custom to that company. And then I'm able to implement it and they're able to get that extra 10%, which no one else can get. And so I built things like a LinkedIn lead scoring where it would scrape somebody's LinkedIn, like scrape their LinkedIn like post, and then every day it would score them based off of like your ICP, and then you had a short list of people that you would comment on their post, and then build kind of that relationship with them. And so because I was finding when I was trying to grow my LinkedIn, I was in there going through posts trying to find people. I was spending hours trying to engage with people, and so I
Mm,
was like, all right, let me figure out a way to optimize that for partnerships and for like B2B relationships. Another one was like cold email. Everybody hates cold email, of course, and I hate cold email. But how I did it was I'm now using cold email for like matching up different partners of like, all right, this is a Shopify Plus agency, this is an Amazon agency. They're doing completely different things. Like, let's match them together, and more of a informal kind of like meeting kind of thing where it's not I'm trying to sell you. It's kind of like I'm trying to partner with you, or for podcasts to get on podcasts. And so I built the technology for more like relationship building type of things. And so I would build these technologies that I was kind of using for me in the agency. And I was like, oh, these can be used for other people too.
yeah.
And then kind of made a suite that I can license out.
It sounds incredible because, like, I mean, I've got this methodology, right? Then, in terms of like, you come back to overload and understanding, well, hang on a second, what does this business need? Or,
Mhm.
what do we like from a learn perspective, like understanding what's keeping the business from growing, or, what's preventing the business from scaling, for example, or attracting or getting the leads that they require in what you're talking about. And then it's kind of like, well, hang on a second, if there's all these like distractions and, like complications to everything, like from a systems perspective, what do we subtract and what do we get
Yeah.
rid of? What do we take away from the human? What do we offload to the AI, the agent? To then be able to
Yeah.
then reimagine and create and reshape what it looks like so that, ultimately the human can get back to what they need to be focusing on when it comes to, like you say, relationship building, growing their business, for etc. And then what that
Yeah.
AI agent is doing. So it's almost like, for me, it's that human, well, it's that human and AI collaboration that you're
Yeah.
creating where
Yeah.
you're getting the best out of the
It's
human.
letting
Mm, you go.
Yeah, it's letting the human be the human, right? And
Yeah.
like before, because you don't have time to sit on LinkedIn and talk with people. Like that takes a whole bunch of energy chatting with people on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, right? And
Mm,
so this was like, all right, let me just score and use the AI to go through them, and then I can talk to these 10 people. And so it allows me to really focus on what's important and be that human that focuses on that. So using the AI to
mm,
kind of get you a short list so that you can focus on it. And so it's kind of yeah, and I believe AI is really good, but as far as like being the authentic human, only us can do it. And so you can use AI in a way that will kind of do all the hard stuff and get you the relationship like in the door, like get your foot in the door, and then you build it. And so I think that's the best way of kind of using it.
Yeah, it totally is. And it makes sense because like everything you're talking about is all energy, right? Like in terms of, if we can
Mhm.
get back to being ourselves, we're gonna
Yeah.
see results faster. Like, do you see that? Like with what you're licensing out, are you getting that, from your customer base that they're like kind of going, well, I'm able to achieve this now. Like when it comes to growth tech, for example, the ability to be able to
Yeah.
get radical change. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I do a lot in content also, and as everyone know, everyone hates AI content, and it's because it sounds like the same as everyone else. And so what I did was I believe in just going straight to the source. So I'll use like for example Reddit information. I'll go like let's say there's an Amazon agency, and they in Reddit I can go to the Amazon seller forum, and then I can get everyone talking in Amazon seller forum, and I know those are generally brand owners, which is the agency's ICP. And
Mm.
then I can then like scrape all that information and figure out what words they use, what like language they use, how they talk, what things they care about, what things they hate, like, and use all of that for the content. And so I'm actually using their kind of yeah, their conversation when they think no one's listening, and I'm kind of reusing it for whatever the content is. So instead of me just guessing, I'm going straight to the source and then using their language and writing the answer to whatever their problems are, and doing it. So I'm using like intelligence to create the content, which is kind of a unique way. But you're able to actually give people value at that point instead of just throwing out the kind of AI trash that everyone sees.
Yeah, it is AI trash. It's pretty funny that you call that out. What are you
Yeah.
seeing as the biggest, like, I guess challenges right now though in growth tech? Like, is it that we're getting in the way of ourselves? Is it that we're not adapting and or not implementing enough of the AI agents? Because I hear stories around the AI agents can't do everything, you've actually, I mean, you've nailed that before. Like humans need to be like and agree. But like, is there any like
Yeah.
blocks to this? Like, what are you seeing? Because there's always I guess what I'm asking here is that we quite often, when you talk to companies or businesses, there's always growth blocks. There's always, oh, that we've got a
Mhm.
growth issue here, or we're not hitting our targets, etc. Is it
Yeah.
because humans or the people within the business in marketing, like, are they still trying to do everything and not able to, manage their time or not wanting to hand it all over to AI? Like, what is it? Like, are you seeing any of those sorts of blocks?
I'm seeing everyone talk about AI, but they have no clue how to use it. And so they'll be like, oh yeah, you'll just hear them chat about it, but you actually see them use it. They don't use it correctly, or they're buying a tool that everyone else is using, which levels the playing field. And there's a huge learning part that is not really talked about. Like you hear the word all the time, but
Mm.
there's not really a lot of people that actually use AI in the way that they should be. And that's why you'll see a lot of like AI failing in this company, AI failing in this company, is because everyone's talking about it, but no one's actually doing it. And a lot of the reason is because the executives are not learning it themselves, and they're just pretending in the meetings that they know what they're talking about and expecting their employees to. And their employees are like, I ain't getting paid anymore. Why am I going to learn it? And it's just a bunch of fakeness going up and down. And then they're like, well, why isn't AI working? And it's because no one's really learning it. And so what I found was I would go into teams and same thing. They would be just using the basic chat GPT stuff. And then like, why isn't it working? Well, you and every other marketing agency is doing the same exact thing. What do you mean? Why isn't it working? You have to do something different. You got to take it to the next level. And that's where kind of I come in and be like, all right, now let's forget chat GPT. Let's do this and let's go grab this data. And so you have to like merge the kind of the data and the intelligence with the AI and the creative thinking to then make it work. Everyone else is kind of looking for shortcuts of just like I'm gonna do this tool and this tool. It doesn't work because everyone's doing it, and or it's not custom enough to work for you. And so it's a huge learning part, and it's just the everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's so true. It's funny you talk about not custom, like it's what I'm noticing, and I'm a big, like, I'm all about the interconnection of, like I talk about life leadership business, but I talk about,
Mhm.
when it comes to a business, leadership teams and business, us as humans. And I also think about systems, right? And I'm one of those people that
Yeah.
is, super curious. And so, for example, I'm trying to, well, I'm, putting together a system at the moment, for my podcast and how it all connects in terms of from social, from recording. You saw me just beforehand because I'm testing out a
Yeah.
new system. And
Yeah.
there's not just one, I guess, base system out there that I'm seeing at the moment that hooks it all up. So then it's kind of like
Mhm.
the ability to be able to then go, well, okay, how do I then connect it all together? And so I
Yeah.
guess where
Yeah.
I'm going with this is like it takes time. And so it's allowing ourselves to, rather than try and have these quick fixes like you say, because it's like I'll just slop it together this way. But
Mhm.
if you just put it together that way, it's not going to give you the long-term results that you're looking for, right? Is that the sort of thing that
Yeah. It's
you're
gonna.
noticing and seeing?
Yeah, everyone reverts back to their old way. And it's because like right now, creative problem solving is the number one skill set. And when I interview people, I don't even care about their resume. I look for the intangibles. And it's because AI can do everything pretty much. It's how can you think? Like how can you solve specific problems? How
Yeah,
can you think through things? And so like that is the key, and everything else can be taught in a day or two, like almost literally, right? And so yeah, it's just a you have to use AI in a way that it works with you as a partner, and you're able to kind of work, collaboratively and get
yeah.
the best out of it.
Yeah. And so then let's come back to you because, you talked around at the start, just around like overload. You're a
Hmm.
founder. You started this company last year. You're in helping all these different companies in terms of, I guess, simplifying, subtracting out, the
Yep.
unnecessary stuff into connecting the human with AI and from a growth tech perspective, to get the results that are required. How do you juggle it all? How do you do it? Because, yeah, like you said, at the start that you need to work on, reduce the amount of your meetings. Like, how do you do that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, So I use Whisper Flow to like not type, and I speak to text everything, and that helps a lot with just the speed of things. When it comes to like emails, I have a tool where I send voice messages and emails, so I don't even have to type out a 30-minute email. Because sometimes I would take 30 minutes to write an email because it's like I have to be. I'll just do a quick voice note and just send it an email. And so like just those little efficiency things, even like recording my screen and showing something instead of jumping on a meeting, I'd be like, nope, here goes a screen recording. Here you go. And so like trying to really get out of the things where people don't need you, and they because I think everyone got used to just being on meetings, and they're just like, oh, here goes a problem. Let me see this person. And I'm like,
yeah,
nope, why you need me on this?
yeah.
And I'll just like make them explain it to a point, and then I'll be like, no, here's your answer. I'm going over here. And so yeah, like getting out of this whole like everyone has to be on the meeting, every like and but I think a lot of it is just the ownership. Like I feel like ownership is going away. Like there's not a lot of people that can lead and be owners of something and be accountable of something where they don't need a hand holding from all the executives or all the people. And so like now, which I think is a great time, is now you can have just a few owners and kind of exponentially grow them using AI. That one owner can do 5x what they can do before because of the use of AI. So like just labor in general or cheap labor are just kind of the worker bees, like they're becoming less valuable because that leader can now do 10x what they could do before. So I feel like the leaders that can own things, I'd rather have 3 leaders than 10 employees any day.
It's really important, isn't it? Like having those, like it comes back to that creative problem solving and the critical thinking, if you like,
Mhm.
and being the ability to make those decisions, succinctly and strategically. And it's
Yeah.
almost like the AI, having these little AI agents running around, they're almost like, the team, if you like. And then it's like back to kind of
Yeah.
having been the leaders in a business, because this is the other thing that I see, and
Yep.
I'd love your thoughts on this, is that we, tend to work increases, so we add more people, or, we add to the
Hmm.
load, but actually it just creates bottlenecks. And so,
Yeah.
if we had this ability to reduce, reduce the resource, but, get it more, I guess, optimized,
Yep.
we'd see a
Yeah.
lot more success.
For sure. Yeah. I found when it was about a year and a half ago, I was hiring like three different freelancers from Upwork, and they were data engineers. And it I like after about 6 months, I was just moving so slow. I just was like, I'm gonna fire you guys and I'm gonna do it myself. And I moved the needle faster myself than them three. And it was because every time they hit a roadblock, I have to come in and solve it. And then someone else hit a roadblock, I come in and solve it. I hit another, I come in and solve it. And then they will go the wrong path. And then we'll waste a day or two because they picked the wrong decision. And then I'm like now micromanaging like every time, like, let me see what decision you're making, plan it out like you're a coding agent. Let me see your plan. All right, approve. And then so I was literally just answering problem solving their questions where if I was just sitting there thinking it myself, I could have done it faster.
Mm,
And it really it was I wasn't even paying for the three freelancers. My partner was, and I was like, I don't care if you pay, I don't want them. I'm because I can do it faster myself. Like they're wasting my time. I don't care if they're free. And like we got to that point where like you're giving up three free employees because you can do it faster and it's less time on you. Then it's like now it's like it doesn't really matter about labor anymore. If they can't solve their own problems and they can't think forward and think about the kind of being modular and agile, they can do something for weeks and then it breaks and you got to redo it anyway. And then now you lost all that time. And
mm.
so, yeah, I think there's a time right now where just those independent kind of thinkers, and problem solvers can exponentially grow. And I honestly feel like there's going to be a huge gap between the haves and have not, even worse than there is now because of it.
It's interesting you say that, isn't it? And it's super interesting because, like I was presenting last night and I was talking around that AI can establish the patterns, like the patterns of what's
Hmm.
going on, but you need the humans then to kind of pull out the meaning and the mattering behind it and then kind of deciphering like, okay, well, what's the problem here we're solving, etc. But it pulls
Yep.
out the bits and pieces. It feels like that's what you're
Yeah.
talking about, even with that, in terms of just this, like ability to, we quite often, again, we have more resource and we have these half problems solved at times when yet we
Hmm.
just need to get the it solved faster. And so how do we do
Yeah.
that? Like, am I making sense? I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm just, yeah, for me, it's
Well,
super interesting.
yeah, I mean, like the AI gives you options, and then the human has to pick the option,
Mm,
and it's not gonna. Even the option that's going to recommend won't necessarily be the right option depending on the context and things that it's not going to know because uh, the human will give it three sentences and then expect it to know everything and be like, well, like, why didn't you know this? Because you didn't tell it. And so it will give you, you have to be able to talk to it in a way where it understands everything contextually, which is kind of impossible. And so it's not going to always give you the right decision, and you have to pick those decisions. And you kind of go down that route, and it can take you to a whole route that's not even feasible at the end, and you just blindly went there. Now you lost a week. And
yeah.
so that's what I was finding with these people that would, go down this path and don't really think about it. And then I'm like, did you think about if we, grew the data to this, it's not going to work anymore. Why would we go? And they just blindly go. And so it's dangerous in that way where it feels like it knows everything and it's the expert and it's like factual and it's not all the time. It's factual in that situation maybe, but it's not. And so when people just blindly just go, it just leaves a lot of risk.
Yeah, it does. A few more questions for you. Leadership. You've talked a bit about
Yeah.
leadership and the lack of, at times, direction or, saying that they know what they're doing, like, brought up AI and they don't. What do you see? What do you think is what do leaders like? What do you see as like the three, I guess, traits of a leader in this new world we're
Yeah.
in that is absolutely required?
Yeah, and mine might not be like everyone else's. I'm a very unique leader. I remember the team that I just got, and I showed them, and they were in Bosnia, and I kind of like my thing is if I'm presenting something or showing something, I don't want you to tell me I'm good. I want you to show me and pick holes and try to break it apart and make me explain it until it's believable, right? Like I feel like a leader, you should be able to have criticism. Like I embrace criticism. I tell them like if you don't pick holes and find that then to me you're lazy. Like you're not respecting me because you don't want to find that 1% and put the energy to find that 1% to make me better.
Mm,
So like you play devil's advocate and try to pick every hole possible. And so and I'm the leader where I'm like in like in there with them. I'm doing it with them, and I'm kind of like you got my back, I got your back. You lazy, I'm gonna tell you you're lazy and be better. If I'm lazy, you tell me I'm lazy and be better. And so it's kind of more like a partnership almost. And I get a like emotional connection of like I feel disrespected. It's like you if you're being lazy, then you're literally wasting my money, and that's disrespect to me, and I take that personal, right? And so I think it's just the like having that excitement, having that openness where it's like if I suck, then tell me. If I'm doing something bad, then tell me. I'm going to tell you too. I'm going to tell you to be better, you tell me to be better. And so really like having that relationship where it's just everything's open. And so that's not kind of it's a very unique way of doing it. Everyone like that I work with is always like, man, like I could tell you you suck. Yes, like I want you to. So then I
yeah.
can do better because a lot of times you make things up and you kind of word things to make yourself feel better, and you know it's not right, but you sometimes you need somebody to say it, right? And so yeah, I feel like the leader that enables their team to speak up and think and critically think and question you and not just agree, come up with their own ideas. That's going to be the leaders that actually make it because you're not going to know everything, and you're going to
No.
have to get your team to start helping you and pushing you. And if we're all pushing each other, then hopefully we'll be successful.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. It's like that, just because you're a leader and, you have potentially more experience doesn't mean you have all the experience. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the younger ones quite often have a lot of experience and just doing things differently that we need to interconnect the two together.
Yep. Or
Energy.
sometimes
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Or sometimes it's I'm like go back to energy. Sometimes I'm just had such a long day and I can't even think that well. So I'm like, you guys got to protect me from myself sometimes. Like I'll have a day of meetings, which I'm dead by the end of the day, and then I might have said something contradicting to what I said yesterday. And then if you just go with it, then like my brain is just not functioning at 100%. Now we're going on the wrong path. So I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh no, Tyler, you said something different yesterday. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. And sometimes like I just need them to protect me from myself. And because it's just you can't think that like if you're making so many decisions, you got so many things happening, like you need someone to kind of help you pull you in sometimes. And so yeah, I think even if they're not having all the skills, just being able to hold you accountable and kind of remind you and being, just because I make mistakes all the time. I'm like sometimes am I thinking about this right, you guys? Like question me because I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And just having that, yeah, that feeling between everybody is kind of a good one.
It's a good one, actually. It's a really good insight, like in terms of protecting your leader and course correcting, because as a founder as well, like you've got 100, 50 million things on the go. You're scaling, you're
Yeah.
building, you're wanting to grow the business. You've got everything happening, in business, but then you've also got your personal life. So it's just like, and, like your cognitive load is just wild at times. It's just like, I'm not at my best there. And I might just say something really random to,
Sure.
my team, and they're like, and there's nothing worse when they go with you because you're not
Hmm.
present. You're not performing at your best. You're in survival
Yeah.
mode. And so
Yeah.
having that ability and encouraging teams to be like, pull me up on this, like, B, you're like, or Tyler, you're off your head right
Yeah.
now. Like, look at you. You gotta have like, you need to step back. Like, I think we need to look after each other. It's a really good. That is a really great insight, and it leads me to back to energy. You're gonna think I'm wild or
Hmm.
random as I ask this question. Maybe not,
Yeah.
but humans, everything is energy, right? And like we can have our energy zapped when we're doing things we don't enjoy, when we're overloaded and we're just feeling utterly exhausted. That's the human
Hmm.
component. Can AI? I mean, I know it uses up a lot of energy, but this is not about the usage of energy that it's actually, the amount of energy it's taking up. But what's your
Mhm.
view on the energy between a human and AI?
Yeah, it's an abusive relationship, I would say.
It's a what?
Because
Sorry, a dubious?
an abusive is yeah,
Oh,
it's an abusive relationship.
yeah. Okay, I thought you said dubious,
Because
abusive.
no, no, because like, well, I mean, one day you love it, one day you hate it, and you're like, I cuss at my AI. I like literally cuss at it because I get so mad sometimes, and because it will do something and then be like, oh yeah, sorry about that. I'm like, what do you mean sorry about that? Like, it'll make up some fake data because it couldn't solve something, and like I'm thinking I'm done, and I go in and it's just a bunch of fake data it made and never told me, and I'm like, what happened? They're like, oh, I couldn't figure it out, so I just put fake data in there, and I'll literally cuss it out. I'll be so mad. But other days you love it because it saves you, 10 hours of work. So it kind of depends. I mean, it's literally I see it as a relationship. It's another person almost, and you got to kind of like so with that relationship though that you could put guardrails around them. And so, for example, with coding agents, there you can put things called hooks, which is like it will stop them from doing certain things. And if you don't set up your projects right, where you don't give it the right instructions, you don't give it the right hooks or guardrails, it will then be able to do some things that it shouldn't do.
Mm,
And a lot of times it's just pure laziness of just some people don't set it up in the beginning because I
mm,
mean, you don't want to just like, let me just get in there. So you have to like, really set it up in the beginning and configure it so that it can't make you mad and it can't make mistakes. And then that works. But being humans, we're lazy and we're like, well, I'm not going to set all this up and really think through all this. Let me just go. So if you just do it right in the beginning, you'll save your time and you save your energy. If you don't up front, you're going to get mad and it's going to be an abusive relationship.
yeah, it's such a good one, isn't it? And if because it's like you do, you lose your mind at it sometimes. I did before because it spat one thing out and then next thing it's gone back up to an old thing. And I'm like, what are you doing? Can you come back to what I
Yeah.
asked you to do? And then it's like, I can't find it
Yeah.
because we've had too much. Like it's giving me a little bit of chewed lately too. And I'm like, hang on a
Yeah.
second. So I think it is, it's creating those guardrails. And I think it, just again, I just thought about it myself then. And it's just like it can take away so much of your energy as well, or can change your energy, like when it
Yeah.
hallucinates and when it does that. So, this is where for me, humans, it can't do everything. And so reminding ourselves that at the end of the day, it is a machine. It's not, it's not us. It's not who we are
Mhm.
intuitively. And, like, so I think it's important to remind ourselves of that. What are you seeing? Last question. What are you seeing as the biggest, I guess, trends, trends? What are you seeing as the biggest, from a growth tech perspective for this year
Mhm.
and coming? What are you seeing as the big trends, if you like?
Yeah. I want to say it's the biggest trend. I would say that's the biggest opportunity, I would say on my end. And that is using intelligence with the AI. Like right now, everyone's kind of just using AI to do things. Like I'm going to use AI to make these emails and tell this person they did good on this LinkedIn post and like hi, right? And they're not merging it with the intelligence side. So like before, everything was like data science and data analytics, right? And then AI came, and then there's nobody really merging the two. And so to kind of like give you an example of using, so like for example, for like email, I would go out and grab the person's LinkedIn profile. I would figure out like what their personality type is, if they got an ego or not, how do they talk, what kind of things they're interested in, and then I would then create the email based off of that information, and then even the tone based off of I'm going to stroke this person ego because they seem like they got one, right? And like using it in a very intelligent way to be able to do things personalized. So like everyone's using it for personalization, but I feel like there's a layer missed where you can use AI to create the intelligence and then use the intelligence and the AI to then do the personalization. And that's when it becomes like super powerful. And it's because to me, everyone's kind of doing shortcuts. But yeah, I feel like merging the intelligence first, and that's using AI to gather the intelligence and then put it back to the AI to do something, I think is the biggest opportunity.
Yeah, and I love that you keep calling out shortcuts as well because, like, shortcuts don't really, and they never. It's like for me, it's like a slow and steady wins the race, right? Shortcuts only get you
Yeah.
to a certain extent, and then it falls apart. It's just like that short term transactional. It's really important. And what you're talking about here is, and you've called it out a few times now, is that if you want to don't shortcut because shortcut won't give you what you're looking for, and you won't then from a long term you won't benefit from the long term. You'll almost have for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
a disconnected model, a disconnected system because it's
Or
going to
hallucination, horrible hallucination.
yeah,
Like,
it's going to
yeah, it's a,
fall apart at some point.
yep.
Last but not least, sorry, two more things because I Reddit,
All right.
Reddit like has been for me. I'm really intrigued by Reddit in terms of it feels like it could be the new. I know it's been around for quite some time, but do you see it as becoming like from a social media perspective or from a community and conversational perspective? Like Substack, for example,
Mhm.
12 months ago, it was no one was really using it. Now all of a sudden you see everybody's, now on Substack sort of thing. Is
Yeah.
Reddit like what is Reddit like in terms of what do you see the purpose of it, and do you think it's going to get bigger?
Yeah, so I think social media is dead in general. I think everyone's fake. There is nothing authentic. There's content everywhere. Like, and there's just so much. Everyone just becomes blind, right? Like, it's just like it doesn't even matter how great the content is. Yeah, it's just flooding. And so with Reddit, there's kind of a unique system that they have where the peers upvote and downvote your content. And so because humans do it, it's like you can put the like in LinkedIn, you have just thought leadership posts after one after the other, right? And it doesn't, LinkedIn never stops you. You can post a million times a day if you want. On Reddit, your peers are upvoting and downvoting. So if you're trying to like sell something, you're going to get downvoted and then you don't have enough points to then post again. And then if you're posting like something really valuable, then you get upvoted. So it's like this peer, and they're strict too. They don't play. Like I remember I tried like a full 8 hours and I got like six karmas, and I was just like, man, I poured my heart out on this, and like barely. And like, so it's a very like strict kind of community, and it's good because it allows like people that really want to help or people really helping, like you can see that and they get rewarded for that, and the people that are just self-promoting, you see it and they just fall. And so it's this peer kind of policing that happens that makes it more authentic than searching on Google or searching on LinkedIn. Now people are trying to play the game and try to self promote, but like the smart people usually see it and they'll call it out quick. They're like, oh, this person is so and so. They've got a burner account, and like they'll call it out super fast. But I do believe the private kind of community is going to be the next social media, like a discourse or something where people have private communities and they have these conversations that are authentic and you can like talk and community peers. Because yeah, everything else to me is broke. Reddit is the closest, but I feel like they're gonna go private, and I'm kind of seeing that a lot with the marketing is they're trying to make these private communities, but there's just so much work, so it's really hard. But yeah, I feel like there's gonna be a huge shift very soon.
Yeah, I love it. Gosh, you're full of so much knowledge. I feel like I could, yeah, I need a growth tech session with you. How about we do a swap? I sit down with you and work through, like this meeting situation you've got and working through your calendar. And, because I know AI can help, but a human needs to intervene at times, and you can give me a growth
Yeah,
tech, review of where everything's at. It's awesome. Tyler, what
yeah,
would
yeah. We
be,
do another podcast too one day.
pardon?
That we can do another podcast one day too.
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
I'll
I've had a
give
few
out
people.
some more info.
Yeah, I've had a few people. Yeah, we could call it an education session, and we could get the audience to ask what they want to know and set it up that way, and start creating some educational pods. I mean, not that this isn't, but yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
idea. Tyler, what would be one? I guess when it comes, let's play with energy, and let's play with. I guess for me, this resistance or this, surface level shortcut AI,
Hmm.
what would be a piece of advice you would give anybody, who needed to, or in their business, who needed to do more with AI? Their energy levels
Yeah.
were, being zapped, like what would be one piece
Yeah,
of advice you would give them?
so I literally like breathed AI for years. I would be in the shower watching YouTube videos, like going to sleep, listening to it until I felt like it, and like I would live it. And I got about 6 months ago, I just stopped watching all of it. I was like, I am overwhelmed. This is just too much. There's something every day. Like I don't even want to listen to it no more. And so I always was kind of critical on the people that didn't learn AI by now. But I now understood like they were just overwhelmed. It was just too much, and a lot of it's just fear, right? They're just like, this is too much. Like this mountain is just growing and growing and growing. And so like I kind of made a joke. It was just like Anthropic, which is like a Claude and OpenAI. I was like, they're just fighting and racing against each other, and they're leaving all us behind because we can't keep up. Like they need to just pause for a year and let us keep up because they're just moving too fast and they're not even paying
True.
attention
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, there's just this race that no one cares about, and they just keep going and going and going. And we're like, man, we haven't learned the thing from 6 months ago. Like, chill out, right? And so you get overwhelmed. And so I would say, like, ignore all the LinkedIn posts, ignore the YouTube videos, focus on just one thing that is going to move the needle the most, and just become an expert at that all the way through. Don't surface level understand it to its core, and then that will allow you to actually move. Because when you start learning at surface level anytime something doesn't happen right, you revert right back. And so I've seen that over and over again. Like, oh, this kind of works. It doesn't work. Oh no, like I'm busy now. I'm gonna go back and I lost everything. And so learn it to the core, get really good at it,
Yeah. One thing.
get it really like yeah, and get it like perfect, and just like optimize it continuously until it is perfect. Don't move on to something else. Get that one thing perfect, kill that one thing, and then move on and ignore all the noise and everything happening because it just will overwhelm you and you'll just shut down.
I love it. So good. And use a co-pilot. That's what I find. Like if you want to get good at something and the little co-pilot's there, but become besties with it and
Yeah.
get, optimize it and get it so right. Because once you start, if that's what you need. But anyway, you might
Yep.
disagree with me, but I think that it does, yeah, focus, don't shortcut things, it's super important. So how do we find out more about Relentless Labs and how do we find out more about you?
Yeah. So relentlesslabs.io. I'm becoming a little more LinkedIn heavy. So I put a lot of I call it intelligence based post. Once again, I said I dislike AI content, but how I'm doing it is like, all right, I'm gonna go scrape Reddit of all the use cases that people have used HeyGen for, and then I'm gonna present this intelligence report of like, here's the top 8 use cases that people have talked about using HeyGen because I was trying to figure out how to use HeyGen. And so I'm using it more as like these intelligence kind of based posts where it's like starting discussions. So yeah, so LinkedIn would probably be the most engaging kind of yeah, social media for me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Well, it's been a privilege having you on
Of
the
course.
show, and we definitely need to have a follow-up. Do you have a podcast as well? Have I got that right or no?
Yeah, I used to, but yeah, it's a lot of time. So now I'm getting on others and make them edit it.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot. It is a lot. But hey, speaking of content, I get such great content coming out of it, and it's content from you guys, so that
Yeah,
I'm then able to share because it's real advice, it's real time conversation, so it can work.
for
But
sure.
thank you. I had it written down, and I'm like, oh, actually, but yeah. So you've previously been a podcaster, so you get it. Tyler, thank
Yeah,
you so much. I've
yeah,
really enjoyed our conversation. I'm wishing you huge
of course.
success with Relentless Labs this year. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll get you back on. If anyone in the audience is wanting to understand more around, what Tyler's doing from a Relentless Labs perspective and providing an education session, please do give us feedback so that we can set up another session and get deeper, maybe deeper into one specific topic when it comes to growth tech.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks, Taylor. Have a great day, a great evening.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.